Good morning. What I'd like to talk about today is responsibility and accountability. It seems lately that none of the people who we voted into office, what representatives we have, or politicians in general, it seems like none of them ever want to take responsibility for any of the things that they've done, any of the choices they've made, or any of the decisions they've made. And we need to hold these people accountable. We need to make sure they understand that these are their responsibilities. We've put them in office to take care of these responsibilities. But before we can expect others to take responsibility and accountability for their own actions and decisions, we need to start doing better ourselves. We need to recognize that choices we make or decisions we make have got repercussions, whether that be positive or negative. Many decisions we make affect others as well, whether that be our family, your partner, your husband, your wife, your spouse, whoever it may be. Many of our decisions and choices will have direct effect on them. We need to take that into consideration before we make those decisions. If we just make a rash decision, and go out and buy a new car. Hey, I've always wanted a Camaro. I'm going to go buy this car. Great. Turns out great for you, at least temporarily. You'll have your Camaro. It's going to be great. You've always wanted one. But is your family or your partner, your spouse, your husband, your wife, are they willing to make the sacrifice of the additional payment for not only the vehicle itself, but the additional insurance, maintenance, taking care of the vehicle, ensure that it's properly taken care of? And we need to think about these things before we make these decisions, because it does affect other people. Similarly, you can make a choice now and, I don't know, let's say take money against your home. Say you've got your home very close to paid off, or say you've got your home taken care of, or the balance paid down, and you want to get that new car or a camper. You want to go to Europe for a month or whatever it may be. If you refinance your home or get a second mortgage on your home, that's really going to have a drastic effect on your life, not only your wife, your kids, your wife, your husband, your whoever it may be. So we need to really consider these things before we make these decisions. If you do make that choice and it doesn't turn out quite the way you expected it, it's not somebody else's fault. And that's where we need to step up and take accountability for ourselves. I took a loan with a variable rate, and now the rates have gone up. So it's not my fault. It's not my fault. You're the one that decided to do the refinance or get the second mortgage on your home or whatever it may be. That was the deal you signed. That variable rate was, it was great to start with, 3.5%, fantastic. Now the markets have taken a dump and the economy is in the dumps and inflation's gone through the roof. And now your mortgage is a 12% rate because you took that variable rate loan. These are things that we can't point at the variable rate. We can't point at the bank. We can't point at anyone else. We need to realize, yep, that's my fault. I did that. I'm going to have to dig myself out of this. You're going to have to work extra. Your family's going to have to work extra. Maybe your family's going to have to do with a little less. But we need to accept and take that responsibility. Yep, this was the choice that I made. This was my decision. Wasn't a great decision, but we're going to work out of it from here. This is how we're going to go about it. Our society as a whole has kind of lost that. Everybody wants to point the finger at someone else. I was doing great before the economy took a dump, and now I've racked up all this credit card debt, and now it's this political administration. It's their fault. It's the inflation. It's the Fed. It's their fault. It was our decision as we went along to increase our credit card debt or buy that new car or whatever it was. Yes, inflation happens, but we need to think about these things before making those decisions. clearly there's a lot going on, not just in California, but there's still families struggling all over North Carolina, Florida, that whole area after those hurricanes. And for whatever reason, FEMA does not look to be doing anything in some of these areas, or they're not taking the responsibility that they should be taking to help those people who really need help down there. They've gone as far as saying that, and I know it was something that they've tried to retract, but they said, "Oh, we'll give everybody the $700 or whatever it was." In Maui, they did the same thing. We'll give everybody $750. I'm not sure if they're aware, but hell, a hotel and a week's worth of groceries, that's $700. It does nothing, absolutely nothing. Interestingly enough, the federal government has come out and said, because of the fires in California, we'll pay for everything. We're going to make sure this gets rebuilt. We're going to pay for everything. We've got this. We're going to take care of it. My question would be, why is it you didn't have the same response to North Carolina or Maui or Florida? Why didn't they have the same response? And that's where we need to step in and say, listen, you represent us, you bureaucrats, those of you in FEMA, you work for us. You can't just pick and choose. We're gonna make sure everybody in this situation is taken care of, but those we'll give them $50 or $700 or $1,000. Oh, you've used up your time. Now we're kicking you out of the hotels, although they have nothing to go to. I hate it for everyone. All of it is tragic. The fire in Maui, the hurricanes that came through in Florida, Tennessee, North Carolina, the whole region down there. It's tragic. The fires in California are tragic. They truly are. We need to hold accountable those who are responsible for some of these disasters. Some of the fires possibly could have been prevented. We need to do better about if we have an area that's clearly got a bunch of undergrowth and it's just overgrown everywhere and it looks like a potential fire. Rather than paying for the rebuilding of fires, let's use some of that money in advance, and we'll cut all that stuff back. We'll get this underbrush, and we'll get all this heavy growth. We'll get it cut back and away from homes. We'll get it cut back to where we have, I don't know, a couple hundred yards separation between the national forest or the forest area and the nearest housing areas. Let's do what we can to ensure that the fire hydrants have water. I get it that yes, they were using water all over Los Angeles and the county. It's a big county. I understand that they were using a lot of water everywhere, but at the same time, we can't let our reservoirs sit empty because there was a tear or something in the cover for the reservoir. We've got to do better. It's been down a year, this reservoir. They have got to do better, and we've got to hold them accountable. If we see these fire weather occurrences coming up to where it's wind, everything's dry, it's going to be hot, the weather is really prime condition for a big fire, we need to start contacting the mayor. Hey, do we have things in place for this? Rather than now, a week later or a few days later, saying, what do we do now? Why weren't these things then? We need to take responsibility for ourselves, making sure that we've got everything cut back away from our home as far as we can. I realize that the lots are small and you don't have the open area that we have here, but we've got to take personal accountability and set up a sprinkler system or something, set up a generator that runs when the power goes out. You can have this generator going with some sprinklers on your house or something. Set up some sprinklers literally on the house. It may look ungodly, but if you've got water draining down on your roof and on your house, it could possibly make a difference. So we need to take that responsibility on ourselves as well, trying to mitigate the damages as far as we can. Nonetheless, I highly recommend you get a hold of not only your federal representatives or your senators or whatever, but I would get a hold of your mayor, your city council. What are they doing to take care of these things? Call them. Hey, did you know this was happening? Did you know this reservoir was out of water? It's been out of water a year. Did you know that? Why is that? We need to become more responsible by taking actions and making sure our representatives who we've put in those offices to make sure that those people are accountable for what's going on as well. I hope everyone is safe. I hope everyone is doing the best they can with what they've got. Please be safe and do what you can to improve your lives.